Good morning, Ines.
Good morning, Tor.
We have
Wonderful.
got some sun again today, which is
I
nice.
see God's little light shining on you.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, I have to have the curtain half closed, otherwise I'll be
Nice.
blinded. But yeah, no, it feels good. You know, spring is. Yesterday I had my window open and I could hear a
Yeah.
bumblebee outside,
Oh, wow.
which
Wow.
means that spring is coming, right? If the bumblebees are
Yes.
out, that must mean that
Yeah.
spring is coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, where I'm sitting, the sun is not out.
I mean,
And
it's
I'm what?
gray, but it's sort of burning through the
Yeah, I
clouds,
can see it
basically.
on your face. It's great. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. How are you
So
feeling today, Ines?
I'm feeling good. Yes. Well, I know we briefly discussed the difficulties in the world. I think that's horrible. I
Yeah.
can't always watch it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I try not to. And yesterday evening, before I went for my evening walk, I sort of plunked down in front of the television with my flatmate and started watching BBC, and you sort of get sucked in. And the more you sit
Yes.
there, the more
Yeah.
heavy you feel, right?
Yes.
And I suppose from a, not to make light of it, but I suppose from a spiritual perspective, all we can do is to just send healing, right?
Absolutely, to try that something, whatever is necessary, will happen, or that
Yeah.
the people can get through it. But what I found in the last 3 weeks that there has been very, very little mention of Afghanistan, because they're going through a hard winter and their food supply was so very, very low. That's all of a sudden off the radar.
Yeah.
Or anything else. I'm certain it's not only Ukraine. I know
I'm
that could
sure.
create a world war, but there's still an awful lot of suffering other places as well.
Yeah, which is why I really like about your approach always, is to just send healing everywhere.
Yeah,
And
it
not
doesn't
just,
matter. Yeah,
yeah, not just with
even
the
to
chosen
Putin,
few. Yeah,
open
even
his
Putin.
mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, yes.
yeah,
Not to be selective. Maybe he has a brainstorm of rightness or something. Let
yeah,
go. Let go of the bone.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, from a physical perspective, we could donate and whatever, but from a spiritual perspective, we can just send healing.
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. And also, I know this can't necessarily be proven, but that our attitude, our own personal attitude to what's happening around us, if we can just persevere a little bit, because our attitude also goes into the ethers. So there we are, there other people are suffering, whatever. Yes, we suffer too. There are difficulties in life, but if we can take perspective of it a little bit, that thought, our strength, will also go to them as well. It helps.
Yeah, so having a positive attitude of mind through life, basically. Yeah, that sort of permeates from your being, from your aura, whatever.
Absolutely. It's always nice to be in the company of people who are cheerful. Everybody has problems, but to have that lightness for that few moments, whatever you're with that person, makes a huge amount of difference.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that. That's a really good.
And I like your attitude as well, Tori. It's always good. I mean, life is life, but it's still strong, which is really good.
Life is life. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you just have to. Someone who said something, I don't know who said it, but someone like somewhere, it's quite cringy, but they said something like, where you take action, energy flows, or something like that. It doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue, but there's something about, I don't know, I just believe in taking action, basically.
Yes.
That's my
You can
motto
always
in
take
life.
action. What do you feel action might be? Do you think action is also an attitude of mind? Because we have to work at that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I mean. Like the
Yeah.
precursor to having a positive attitude of mind is taking action towards building that positive attitude of mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is hard. I mean,
which is really hard.
Yeah, I cannot imagine if I were sick, disabled, everybody's cash strapped, but there are different degrees of it.
Yeah.
And there I am. I'm supposed to find positivity. Woohoo. The walls need painting. You have one rotting satsuma in your bowl.
Yeah.
Somebody to help you out of bed and they're late.
Yeah.
Or they've got COVID.
Yeah.
Or they're sick. So nobody can help you.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult though, but like, what's his name of this? I mean, this is a sort of, obviously he's a unicorn in many ways, but if it was Viktor Frankl who survived Auschwitz? Is that Viktor Frankl?
Oh yeah, but a number of people have.
Yeah, and I mean, if we just take an example of something which is really bad, which is being in Auschwitz, and I mean, if you read his memoirs and if you read his attitude of mind afterwards, I mean, pristine.
Absolutely, yeah, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
So
Yes, yes.
I mean, and it's just, I just think it's so interesting, and there's no right or wrong, but it's just so interesting how some people persevere with a positive attitude of mind through
Mhm.
Auschwitz, whilst other don't. And it's difficult to say what does it, right?
It
But
is.
yeah, it's just really fascinating.
It is fascinating. I think the fascinating is certainly not Auschwitz. However, our lockdown, we were in
Mm,
our individual cells.
mm,
If you're lucky enough to have a cell to go to, but even
mm.
then, that space became a hellhole.
Yeah,
Doing, 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 bouncing off your wall type of thing.
yeah.
Not easy. And the amount of what I've read, the amount of psychological
Mm,
uh, difficulties that young people, all kinds of people have now. We
mm.
need each other.
We need each other.
Yes.
I think that's very true.
Do you know what I saw mentioned this to somebody else. I went to shop in Sainsbury's a lot. Mountains of loo paper in the alleys, up the walls, loo paper. And I said this to somebody else. Said, yes, waitress said, loo paper. And I said, why? Is there going to be another lockdown? Why all of a sudden this overflow of loo paper? Have you had that in your shops?
Not that I've noticed, but
But
that's,
excessive.
yeah, not that I've
You
not that
would
I've
notice
noticed.
excessive.
But maybe again, maybe people are worried about Ukraine war, and then they will, I don't know, hoard toilet paper. Who knows?
I have no shipment of loo paper came in. Yeah, yeah,
So
that's right.
what are we touching on this week, Ines?
Well, it's we're concentrating on us, meaning us, ourselves, not you and I, our needs and our ability literally to move through life in the best possible way. What we're
Mm,
talking about, it's I'm not trying to be glib. I take it very, very seriously because I hear of, as you do too, we all do, of some of these tragic cases as well. It is our mind often dictates how we lead our life. So it is our mind that needs TLC constantly and encouragement to sometimes literally step outside of our box. What do we need? What are we looking for? So again, meditation, if we use that word, is how we're actually able to deal with the help, able to deal to help our mind and ourselves. That is the cornerstone on anyone who listens to the spiritual link, who wants to do XYZ in phenomena, in healing, in whatever it happens to be. There's only one base, and that is the meditative state. So when we talk about meditation, it should be in connection and inclusive, literally, of healing. So before you yawn and stop listening, just hear us out today. There are, I'm condensing this. This is not black and white, right or wrong. There are two types of meditation. One, calming the physical body and quieting the physical part of the mind. So when we calm the physical body, there you go, relax this, relax that, quieting the physical mind, there you go. You see the calmness drifting like clouds through your mind. This would inadvertently also allow the spiritual, the memories of all time, where necessary, to come forward. And therefore, not only would we be opening ourselves to what lies within ourselves, our strength, our resolution, but we also open the deeper part of our mind. And it's the deeper part of our mind, this is only one teeny weeny thing, which gives us that brainstorm moment. Oh yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. That's where it lies. Also on what to do. It also opens the chakrams, which are communication points within the aura, communication points of the information that comes towards us. Again, it's such a large topic to put into a nutshell, is not only difficult, but it could also be misleading. They're communication points from spirit, from outer regions, and so on. That's where communication from the wind comes. You can whisper through the trees, the leaves through the trees. You can connect with what is happening around the world, and so on. Then we come towards a form of meditation to simply relax, help ourselves, chill out, and to move forward in the world and to alleviate maybe many of the problems that would otherwise beset our minds. So meditation is a very physical situation where we could, in the preliminary stages, take precautions to help the bodily functions work in a proper way. But this in itself will also help our spiritual progression, because we are helping the body to function more efficiently, which means we have less pain, less this and that. Now, if there's a calmness within the soul, within the mind, within the body, all the energies, all of the functions, all of the organs of the body can become quiet, and so get a respite from the daily excesses and stresses of living on this planet. However, where we want to go deeper, wanting more, it then becomes the key to opening the door to the deeper mind, the self, the spirit within us. And this is known then as the trilogy. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost is the trilogy. What does it bring forward? What does it bring together? It brings your own spirit, your own soul, mind, and your guide. All three are the trilogy. This trilogy is referred to in the Bible for the understanding that the three in one are necessary for the opening of self. The Holy Ghost is the power of spirit. You have the spiritual and you have the physical self, and then you have the guidance and the flow of power which comes from the base chakra, which is fed throughout the body. Excuse me, I am going to wipe my nose. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, thank you.
It is the changing of season, isn't it?
It absolutely, yeah, exactly, that bumblebee effect. And this flow of power is fed throughout the body. Now, the way this can all come together, either consciously or subconsciously, is through the power and the strength of meditation. Come back to the mind. And that is why meditation is such an important issue. And that is also why meditation and healing are inclusive of one another. Now, there's no mention whether you should meditate 2 minutes, 2 hours, 2 days, whatever. Timing is purposely not mentioned because it is how the individual feels. How long will it take for that person to get into that state? We're talking meditation, which is physical. And we're also talking about the individual, which would and will and does vary. If we take some of the Eastern ideas of meditation, they can reach a very great depth, whereas mostly in the Western Hemisphere, it is thought of as a calming influence on the body. In other areas of the world, where warmth brings a far more spiritual aspect, they have situations where some individuals can control their bodily functions so well that they can do all manner of things which would be quite impossible in a lighter state of meditation. So when we talk about the epitome or nirvana, in these other states of meditation, this concept is relatively unknown. It is not why they go into that state. Oh, I want to reach nirvana or epitome. It is a different form, aspect of endeavor. However, in these other forms of meditation, and the Eastern I'm talking about, the control of the body, the calming of the body, and all of the organs of the body, they are then controlled by the form of meditation to the extent where they can actually walk on coals. They can be buried for days without air. Why? How is this possible? Because these individuals have gone into a state of hibernation or a form of trance. On a physical level, this immense control within their own body also brings together the mind, body, and spirit. The trilogy in its entirety, which is known again as the form of nirvana. That is the most popular name. It simply means the epitome or the totalness. These individuals do not necessarily accept much in the spiritual sense, is what we tend to talk about. But because of their physical endeavors, which is total concentration, which is the prelude to any form of meditation, They control every muscle, every sinew, every nerve in their body, because they have brought the spirit together, whether they know it or not. They can control the feelings of pain. They can control the pain thresholds. They can control many, many things, which is individual again. If we briefly talk about, let's say, dissolving all objects and reinstating them, say through walls, objects, yes, humans never ever. But it is possible to project through the control of the body a facsimile of yourself to wherever it is necessary. Let's say, okay, we're in London. There we go. There you're concentrating. Your imagery could be seen in, say, India. It doesn't make any difference. It's not flesh and blood, but it's more like a hologram. Now, who is this chap? It's not Uri Geller, because he bends spoons through his own power, which we can all do. Who is that other chap? Do you remember him, Tor? He used to also have palm in his hand. He could produce gemstones, sand, other bits and pieces like that. The man's name has just
It's not Cochise, is it? No.
No. That's Indian, Native Indian.
Yeah, that's Native American. Yeah.
No, this would be he was a Western chap, not that long ago.
Right. Okay.
Articles can be brought forward through the concentration of the mind. It's like it's reducing everything into atoms and reinstating them, and then transporting them wherever. The examples, flowers, drinks, but this is also, there are two types. One is a physical one, and from spirit in a deep state of trance, they can bring apports. They're called apports, and they are then dissolved, say a rose. I have a sample of a rose in, where is it? There it is. And it's then, they find the rose. It then has to be brought through the wall. The wall is atoms, the flower is atoms. So it is decomposed, if you like, brought through the walls, reinstated again like a sponge, would suck up water, and you deposit, and then brought to where it is. You see, nothing, as I just said, is solid. We only see everything on the earthly plane as solid. We're talking about another dimension then in this state of trance. All I wanted to do was to explain the amount of control that can be exercised simply by meditation. All that is said is very simplified, of course, and it should be encouraged and should encourage your mind to what we are actually capable of. Some people try to meditate and find it just a chore and that it must be done. We've got to sit here. We have however long it is. That's not good enough. We must have the attitude of mind, which is so willing, which is so wanting, that you look forward to the meditation. There must be the will and the need, not just simply to be in the swim of things because others are doing it, because you were told by your GP to relax, take a meditation course. It's not good enough. Or you feel maybe there's a pot of gold, your wealth, your progression, your let's say your I don't know, your job promotion depends or will happen because you're meditating and because of that positive thought. It doesn't work like that. Positive thinking is always positive, but there's also the law of karma. What positive thought will do is to move you forward in the direction that is then necessary. But you need to have the need and the want to do that. Just one last thing. When one does develop the power of self, the ability to see, the ability to help others, because anybody who listens to anything like this, you want to do something, you want to do with crystals, you want to heal, you want to talk, you want blah, 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 blah. Fine. If we don't utilize that, not always in front of a crowd, you can do that. You can send healing to the universe, to the earth, and you will be able to use that strength and power. No, you don't have an audience. Is that good enough for you? What do you want? But when we don't utilize that power within us, then we become psychically depressed. This is a very strong depression for no other reason that you or whoever it is not working and giving the power within yourself. You've opened it up, mate. So what are you going to do? You need an audience, or can you do that healing from the home? Many, many people in the world are now suffering more from psychic depression than any other form of depression, more than from physical depression. That's also why meditation and healing are so strongly connected and has to be a must. And that's why always, somewhere along the line, we come back to meditation. We give it nice little fluffy bits to, oh yeah, I want to do that. I want to experience that. The basis of meditation. So many people want to experience trance, for example, never ever get the chance. And other individuals, well, yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, okay. They get it. It still has to do with the law of karma as well. Anyway, on that happy note, just imagine what meditation can do for us. It's the mind. We have that capability.
Yeah, and I mean, I think what you've hit the nail on the head there is like, it has to be sort of a intrinsic motivation of wanting to do it, or just a feeling of wanting to do it, that sense of mastery, I suppose, which you can get from meditation, rather than getting the next job. Because if that's why you're doing it, then don't just don't bother.
Absolutely, because maybe you will, but you might get it because your mind is different. All of a sudden, you become a different person.
Yeah,
So maybe
exactly.
you get that promotion, but for no other reason. We have to make it happen.
Yeah.
And if it's right karmically, the doors will open.
Yeah, 100%, exactly.
Yeah.
So, team, meditate as always. Give yourself the gift of meditation.
Yeah. Not because the doctor says you have to, you're on the antidepressants. Try meditating. Antidepressants, I believe, take at least a week or more before they begin working. And then in between stage, you're still crawling up the wall. Meditation can happen like this minute.
This minute,
absolutely. There's zillions of meditations all over the place. Choose one that you might like, stick to it. Don't that jack of all trades and a master of none. We're always talking about individuality. If it works for you, then it's correct.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much again for another week, Ines. And always, if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, just
absolutely
send it across.
All right. Absolutely.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.